Today we're going to talk about organizing buttons. Welcome collaborators, I'm Michelle. We're here in the Fabricatorium. I had a comment from Rebecca who said that in her sewing space she is struggling with how to organize notions, buttons, and trims. This is a very large topic, so we're breaking it out into parts. And first we're going to go easy and look at how I organize buttons. We're going to look at some of the common methods of storing buttons and explain why I don't use them. I was lucky enough to grow up around a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother who all sewed, and they all kept their buttons in a button tin. And that is pretty much the basic level of button storage. It doesn't work for me because you spend all of your time sorting through your buttons to see if you have enough of the right style. Some people try to make it work by grouping the buttons on safety pins or on strings or threads. Some people get very scrapbooky creative with making separate button cards and they stitch them on. Then you also have people who use a binder to store their buttons. Beyond those methods, you start getting into compartmentalizing your buttons, using what they have to hand, such as ice cube trays or muffin tins, to group them by color or size or style. And they don't scale up very well. How many muffin tins can you stack up in your sewing room? Which is not a challenge. If this system works for you, then yay, you can stack 1,000 muffin tins. You get into then trays or drawers that have dividers in them. The problem for me is it is difficult to pull out the whole drawer. That brings us to the small parts organization cabinets. I used these for a number of years, and you have the drawers and you can pull out and remove each individual drawer. The problem I have with them is they sound horrible. The screeching sound of plastic on metal drove me crazy. And I had a very large unit, and yes, I tipped it over more than once. And if it is something that I can spill easily, it does not belong in my life. That brings you to the most photogenic button storage method. Those are the little jars. Spice jars, mason jars, square jars that either stack in trays or baskets or bins, or, oh my god, the one where they screw the lids to the bottom side of a shelf so that if you want to get to the buttons you would have to unscrew these and So that brings us to the system I do use. You can see my buttons. I have them labeled with what group of buttons they are. So I've pulled out some of my bins of buttons so you can see how I've done this. These are very inexpensive plastic bins. I got mine at Michael's on one of their coupon sales, super cheap. The beauty of this storage system is you can expand it as long as you have shelf space. You can even get the bins that have dividers so you can add or reduce the space needed for certain types of buttons. What I like about using these plastic bins for button storage, it is easy to pull out a number of these bins, open the lids, see instantly if you have the buttons you're interested in using, and just as easily close the bins and put them away. When the lids are snapped down, they are spill-proof, thank God. Well, I hope that gave you some ideas of things to try out for yourself in your space with your buttons. If you have made the little beautiful jar system work for you, I would love to see a picture. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.